I'm Jude, I'm co-founder of Morgan's Wings, and I'm here today to talk to you about support after miscarriage. Morgan's Wings aims to help support parents going through or who have been through a miscarriage by providing support, information and care packages for local hospitals. Head over to our website to find out more information. I've put the link in the description below. First, a little bit about myself. I co-founded Morgan's Wings with my husband after we suffered a miscarriage in December 2019. After a miscarriage, you may not know where to turn for support. The world can seem like a lonely and confusing place. When I had my miscarriage, my emotions felt like waves, just as I thought I had them under control. They would come out of nowhere and hit me again. And gradually over time, and with support, these grief slaps, as I call them, are becoming fewer and farther between, and they're certainly less intense. So today I'm going to talk to you about the different supports available and what you might expect from that support. After a miscarriage, you may want the comfort and support of your immediate family and friends. Sometimes this is easier said than done. Sometimes you may feel that you can't talk to your friends and family about your baby and your miscarriage for fear of upsetting them. I know a lot of couples struggle talking to each other after a miscarriage as they're worried that they're going to upset their partner. I think it's important to remember that your partner is going through a loss just as you are, and it's probably always on their mind as well. And if you bring it up and they get upset, it's not because you brought it up. Sometimes voicing our feelings and our concerns and our worries helps release those emotions. So there probably will be tears, but it's not because you brought up a miscarriage, it's because this horrible thing has happened to you. Often people who love you will want to be supportive and they'll want to say something to try and comfort you. Occasionally they don't know what to say or how to respond to you and your miscarriage, and they may unintentionally come out with something that is quite insensitive and hurtful. And it's not because they're horrible people, it's because it's such a tricky subject and people don't know how to respond to it. Some people are fixers, and whilst you may just want to try and get it all off your chest, the fixers will try to fix things. They'll want to help, so they'll try to fix things, and they'll often make suggestions of things that may help you get over your loss. They may say things like, well, at least you know you can get pregnant, or at least you've got other children. And it's not them being horrible, it's they're trying to help you, they're trying to fix it. They often think that they are supporting you and they're just trying to G you up. But I think ultimately it's important that you're honest with your friends and family and very clear about what you want. So if you want to be left alone, tell them you want to be left alone. If you want someone just to listen to you, tell them, you know, I know you can't fix it, but I'd appreciate if I could just bend your ear for 5 minutes. Peer support after miscarriage can sometimes come from your friends, but generally, more often than not nowadays, comes from the online baby loss community. When I had my miscarriage, I scoured the internet to try and find out why I had miscarried. And what I found, obviously there were no answers, but what I found were hundreds of women, thousands of women, in a very similar situation to myself. And these women can be a huge source of support. They're empathetic, they have some knowledge, because not everybody's miscarriage will be the same, but they'll have some knowledge as to what you've been through and how you're feeling and how your partner's feeling. And they'll be at a different stage in in their loss journey. So whilst you may be in the early stages where it's all very raw, you might be speaking to somebody who, you know, has a loss 3-4 years ago and has gone on to have a successful pregnancy, or has found ways to cope that may be beneficial to yourself. In the early days, it's very common to feel like you can't cope and you'll never feel any better. And everyone says to you, I promise you, you will feel better. And it's true. Although I think when you're in that situation, it's really difficult to see past how you're feeling now. But given time, you hopefully will be able then to support other people. The downside, I think, of the baby loss community is that you can sometimes be swept up in other people's dramas and lives. And just as everyone's miscarriage is not the same, your grief journey won't be the same. There are people that adopt maladaptive behaviours after miscarriage, and you may see posts of people who are taking drugs or drinking as a means to cope with their loss, and it's very hard not to get swept up in things that happen online. I think it's important to note that there's a huge difference between living with grief and living in grief, and that's something I will follow up on at a later date. Here at Morgan's Wings, we offer something called talk support. We're based in Cardiff, but we do support people from all over the world, and we support anyone that has been affected by miscarriage. So whether you're a mum, a dad, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, a sibling, we're here to offer you support. So I'm responsible for this service, and although I'm not a qualified counsellor, I have a diploma in bereavement and grief, and I'm currently doing a CBT course, and in September going back to college to further my knowledge in counselling. So if you'd like to find out more about talk support, have a look on our website. After a miscarriage, you may feel incredibly vulnerable and your self-esteem may be at rock bottom. The thought of attending a group support meeting will probably fill you with dread. I know it did me. The thought of walking into a room full of people you don't know is very daunting. Walking into a room full of people you don't know after having a loss and grieving is even more so. But group support can be so beneficial. It's not just about people sitting in a room crying and talking about their loss. I've heard lots and lots of laughter at these kinds of meetings, and people form lifelong bonds. No one can know how it feels for you going through a miscarriage, but these other parents at the meetings will be able to appreciate and understand you on a deeper level. Counselling or therapy can sometimes be the best way to come to terms with losing your baby. Seeking help is a positive step, and it doesn't mean that you're a failure. Counsellors and therapists are there to help you with your grief. You will usually be able to find a counsellor or a therapist that works specifically with parents of miscarriage or parents that are grieving. You can also contact your GP, who may be able to refer you to someone, or speak to your employer, because sometimes they will have an employee access scheme where they can refer you to an in-house counsellor. In my experience, I have found that the NHS and some local charities do have an awfully long waiting list, but please don't let that put you off. If you need that support, ask for it. The sooner you're on that waiting list, the better. If you are having thoughts of self-harm or any other disturbing thoughts, please contact your GP as soon as possible. If you're having suicidal thoughts, please dial 999. There is help out there. You're not alone. Please, please reach out to someone. So that's a brief overview of the support that's available. No matter how bad things are, how bad you feel they are, you're never alone, and there are people waiting to help. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to Morgan's Wings. We aim to upload a video on a monthly basis. You'll also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Pinterest. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.